Do you think Blizzard will ever make a single-player RPG in Azeroth, playing as someone like Thrall or any notable characters? Yo, would that not be the sickest shit? That would be so cool. I would absolutely love that. Will Blizzard do it, though? You see, it would never make sense unless they were planning a true expansion of the franchise. Because with WoW, like, the profitability is just so insane with the MMO business model. If they just go and, make Warcraft God of War or something, I don't know how well that would work. But if they want to, like, really start to be like, hey, Warcraft, that's like Final Fantasy to us. Not talking about the Final Fantasy MMO. I mean, like, the big franchise where, Square Enix, they've got Stranger of Paradise. They've got so many different Final Fantasies. They've got the spin-off projects. They've got the mainline projects. They've got the MMOs. Like, if they were to do that with Warcraft, holy fuck. Like, that would be some of the most incredible shit, wouldn't it? So, will they do it? I'm not particularly sure. Because ultimately for Blizzard, the problem is opportunity cost. And a lot of the same developers who are, who could make a big, cool action game like that, maybe they're going to go and make the survival game instead, right? The way Blizzard have got the unannounced survival game. Well, the factions may be friendly. That doesn't change the mob tagging rules. So I feel like they're probably still going to focus on that sort of project, to be honest, which I think is a shame. But, I mean, I would say that. Warcraft's the one I care about the most. And it's kind of weird because, you look at HOTS and stuff, and it's like, cool, you just tried to do a live service there, and you were too late, it didn't really work. So, as much as I'm interested in Blizzard doing the survival game, there's a bit of me that just thinks, think about the money that you can make over 30 years of Warcraft having humongous prestige. If you started doing Warcraft single-player RPGs, perhaps you could tell crazier stories in the Warcraft universe. Perhaps you could pull off the most cool set pieces that, players could possibly imagine without the limitations. The limitations that come from being in an MMO. And what would that do to people's perception of Warcraft over many years? It would probably do a lot, Like, Sony get to have premium blockbusters. They get to have those Naughty Dog games and Ghost of Tsushima and all of that. I mean, that's all so possible within the Warcraft IP. Because, like, Warcraft is so flexible as an IP. RTS, MMO, it would obviously make an action game. I think about the sorts of things that you could do. I mean, you could do a big RPG about the War of the Ancients, right? Big, like, action game. You could do that. So you could do it in so many of the historical settings. Or what you could do is you could finish a WoW expansion and then have a new action game be a... those things where it's like a soft reboot? It doesn't throw away the previous lore. It's just the big new story, and then the MMO could pick up after the action game, in the same way that Warcraft 3 set the stage for World of Warcraft. Could something like that happen? I mean, I'd really like that. And the funny thing is, at one point, Blizzard may have had the chops to do this, because Diablo 4, we believe anyway, so... I don't know if Project Fenris is the current iteration of D4, but anyway, there was Diablo 4. It was under a different project name. It was before it was rebooted, and that version of D4 was actually an over-the-shoulder camera, like a sort of action RPG, but, not an ARPG like D3. Probably still was a loot game and all of that, of course, but it was just very different from what you would expect. And I just wonder then, would Blizzard, do they still have those skills? Right, staff who can do that sort of thing. I mean, who knows? They're there in California. I'm sure they could start to poach some Santa Monica studio people if they really wanted to, right? If they were really willing to put the money in. And certainly Microsoft has got the money to put in. Just look at what happened with the Initiative. You may not know about the Initiative. I just realized the Initiative is Microsoft's quadruple A studio. Quadruple A, which I think, to be honest, just refers to, hey, our budgets are fucking bonkers. But then the odd thing about the game project the Initiative had was it seemed to be going nowhere fast. Then they lost a bunch of staff, and then Crystal Dynamics ended up coming in and perhaps even almost leading the project, which then kind of makes you think that whatever was supposed to be quadruple A isn't. But anyway, I think the point was they were willing to spend like stupid tier money. So yeah, I think Blizzard should do something like that in the setting of Warcraft. And you know, there's those like big epic awesome stories, but you know, you could do a CRPG. Which was of interest to me, because one of the things that I really want to make is a fantasy setting CRPG that is significantly more along the lines of a game like Disco Elysium, even in terms of like combat system and stuff. And, you know, maybe we'll end up making this happen. And you know, I want to use that to basically, in the same way that Brandon Sanderson or George R.R. Martin, they're able to build, you know, an incredible, awesome fantasy world through their books. I want to work out how can we do that through the medium of games. So, you know, part of the reason I'd be very interested in seeing like a Warcraft RPG, maybe a bit more like Pillars of Eternity, Baldur's Gate, shit like that, is just to see like what Azeroth would even look like from that perspective. Because if you think about a game like, say, this is a different genre, but Kingdom Come Deliverance, one of the cool things about Kingdom Come is the fantasy that you're just like such a regular dude in this, I guess, like, you know, sort of Eastern European fantasy setting. And I kind of love that vibe, but it's Westfall. Some of those really cool smaller stories, in the same way that the Witcher franchise has really good side quests. And hey, yeah, Drahug the Dragon has supered us $5 to say Dragon Supremacy. So, hey, it's good to know where they lie. So watch out, we do have a Dragon Supremacist in chat, so I suppose if a Reign of Fire scenario ends up happening, then hey, watch out. Man, did you watch Reign of Fire? Dragon movies. Dragon media. There was a while, I mean, a few of my friends ended up watching, we just like go to my apartment and watch some Dragon media. I think, what did we watch? Yeah, we watched Aragon and D-Wars. D-Wars is a piece of shit. But fucking Craig from The Office is in it. In a smaller role, which is really funny. Actually, on Aragon, did you know Disney Plus have picked up Aragon for a TV show? And the thing with Aragon is it's basically not the Lord of the Rings, no. I mean, there's definitely inspiration, no. Aragon is like basically trying to do Star Wars in a fantasy setting, right? Hey, there's a lot of criticism about Aragon, and I'm totally there with them. I will still say, and even though, yes, it kind of only happened because rich parents and connections, but, hey, I couldn't have written shit like that when I was 16, so I suppose fair play, Paolini. But goddamn, you could really tell that that was written at a time when maybe the author didn't understand women. Because Aragon's approach to dating... isn't the second book Briziger? He's just like, hey Arya, I want to smash. Okay, he doesn't literally say it like that, but he's just like, oh Arya, I want to date you. Let us be romantic. And she's like, bruh, I'm a fucking 200-year-old elf. This doesn't work for me. Please, this is awkward. Stop asking me out. And Aragon, you know, it's just the fucking just keep on trying approach. It's not what to do. But anyway, Aragon's got a Disney Plus series in the works. Isn't that not some of the most insane shit?